And welcome to another episode of the Football Smack Talk Show. I am your host, Ryan.
I'm Eric.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode. We had a week or two off there, but we're back and we're ready to talk some free agency. There's been a lot going on over the last week. So we're
Yeah,
going to recap everything, get you up to date, and talk about what's next. Because obviously the first week is usually the craziest, and then it kind of dies down, and then you get a signing here or there maybe, but you're really kind of prepping for the draft,
right.
and now we have a much better idea of kind of maybe some of the key needs heading into the draft after all of the signings around the league. So real quick, let's just talk about the Eagles and their own players, because as we know, there were 20 free agents that were pending free agents heading into this offseason.
Right.
A lot of them have changed teams, sadly. But, this was to be expected. We knew this was going to happen. So hopefully everybody mentally prepared themselves for such losses. But let's go over real quick. Let's start on the defense, since that seems to be where most of the players were.
Yeah.
Javon Hargrave signed a 4-year, $84 million deal with the San Francisco 49ers.
How
That
do you
one
that?
stung. Yeah, that one stung a little bit. I would have preferred him going back to the AFC,
Yeah.
but he goes back. He signs a massive deal. Good for him. Um, with the Niners, with they already have such a great defense, a really great line. So they're certainly going to be continued success here in the NFC. Somebody to fight with the Eagles, for the NFC Championship for years to come. It seems.
Sure.
Next, looks like we also lost T.J. Edwards. He went back home to Chicago, signing a deal with the Bears. We also lost Kaiser White, another linebacker. We lost C.J. Gardner Johnson, which was the one that
Yeah,
it
that
seems
was things. Yeah.
that stung for sure. But I think the more and more that keeps coming out after the information came out last night. He signed a 1-year deal, $8 million with Detroit, kind of a prove it deal, but next year's safety free agency seems to be pretty loaded, so I'm not sure why they would have done that. And
Yeah.
also, it seems like the safety class is kind of like the defensive running back as far as value.
Mm,
Um, Outside of Bates, who got paid, I think he got like 16 mil. Every other safety got around 6 or 7. So the value doesn't seem to be there, and that's kind of what it seems like. Gardner Johnson, he overvalued his worth. It came out that the Eagles gave him a pretty nice 3-year deal. I've heard different numbers, so I'm not gonna comment exactly, but
right.
uh, it seems like that from the get go, the Eagles were high on CJ. That was their main target. They they absolutely went after him. He felt a little disrespected. He thought he could get more, so then they transitioned. They obviously went and re-signed James Bradbury, who seemed to be the next domino to fall.
Hmm.
Uh, and he got 13 with some incentives to get up to, um, I believe, just under 15.
Right.
So that at least we didn't lose the entire defensive backfield, and it seemed like we were going to there for a minute with the Slay deal.
Yeah. It came out, like he was released, then brought back. I mean, and there was like all of a sudden, man, it felt like the sky was falling, and we were going to lose our entire secondary
Yeah,
in one foul swoop, and the slave course brought back. Then they re-signed Bradbury, and then for a hot second, man, it seemed like, okay, well, we're gonna we could bring back CJ, GJ, and we'll be fine. And
right,
okay, we just got to fill one safety spot, and we're good. But
right. Yeah,
uh,
it was definitely a weird 24 hours there with Slay and Bradbury, and Yeah, it was definitely strange. Epps also gone. He signed with the Raiders. Again, good for him, getting his money.
Yeah,
Um,
I would say that's the prevailing theme I have for a lot of these free agents. Like we weren't going to pay them that, so good on you
right.
for getting what you can get.
Yeah, but again, you're taking going back to the C.J. Gardner Johnson. It seems like we would have given him that much, but apparently the Eagles were asked to match, and they declined. So there's obviously more to this story, and probably more will come out.
Hmm.
But there's something to be said about a team in the Saints that were so readily available to give him away for practically nothing. And then the Eagles, who again were, just not that interested in throwing money at him. So there's obviously something else going on, and
Yeah,
we'll probably find out more. And as as things
it
progress,
could be something that we never really get the full story on.
yeah, I mean, you're right. We may never find out for sure what the deal is, but he's on Twitter. He's saying he's disrespected, then he's deleting stuff, and he's this, that, and the other. It just seems like it's a lot going on
Yeah,
with
I
Gardner
would say it's
Johnson.
a bad idea to air your dirty laundry in on Twitter.
Well, there's a reason why the smart people have somebody run their social media accounts,
Yeah,
uh, a la Jalen Hurts. The real RMP checks in. What's going on, buddy? So far, Howie has done zero to make this team better. Re-signed all the old players, but other than that, he has signed free agents that have been injury prone. Well, the real RMP is not a fan of Howie so far. Listen, I could say this: it was going to be a rough offseason regardless. They didn't have very much money. They had way too many free agents. They had to kind of pick and choose. I am okay with bringing back Cox and Brandon Graham. I thought Brandon Graham deal was phenomenal. You're not really paying him that much. Cox, I
yeah,
would have a little less, but again, these are players that are taking less money to stay with this team and to hopefully finish out their career in Midnight Green. But again, if you're not signing these guys, as he called them, the old guys, um, then you're just adding to the list of needs. At least Brandon Graham and Cox had successful seasons last year. Um,
absolutely.
and considering you lost Hargrave, you don't want to put all the pressure on Jordan Davis to come in his second year and just to be the guy. Now he's going to be relied upon pretty heavily, but with Cox there, and again, if you can maybe draft somebody or you bring in, a depth piece here and there, and continue that rotation that they seem to love on the lines there, I think we'll be okay. We really have to kind of get past this season. Some of our dead money really dies down. Um, and listen, as we mentioned, it was gonna. That's a lot to have to replace.
Sorry,
All right.
that was bothering me.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
All right. Yeah. As we said, to try and replace the whole of
Yeah,
entire defensive backfield would have been too much, and having to fill in holes on the defensive line. We knew how he wasn't going to bring all the free agents back, but Chauncey Garner Johnson, I see what you did there, should have been resigned. Yeah, listen, I think
well, I mean, it takes two to tango. I mean,
right. From all accounts,
like,
yeah, from all accounts, Howie did offer him a good contract in the beginning of free agency, and he declined. I
well,
mean,
Chauncey
and
Gardner Johnson overplayed his hand.
yeah, and from what I understand, it was more than 8 per year. So, basically, what happened is you came in, you had a number, you and your agency had some number in your head. Eagles offered you something; it was below that supposed number. You said, "Hey, I'm going to get more money elsewhere," and no offers came through, and you ended up signing a prove it deal, 1 year deal to go to Detroit with some familiar faces. Dan Campbell being a former Saint coach,
Right.
um, and again, I don't understand what was going on with the agency. The agency then tweeted something like weird, and I don't know what's going on over there. It just seems like you thought too highly of yourself. You didn't read the market correctly. You're a great player, but there's obviously
Sure.
something. You're not a traditional safety, which I think throws a lot of people off as well. And there seems to be a little bit of drama. Again, I don't know how much that plays into it or what the real extent of it is. But there's an obvious reason you weren't getting flooded with $12 million, 13, $14 million offers. And you had to settle for an $8 million deal with Detroit, who, good on you, up and coming
Sure.
team. But listen, you're going to be a free agent. There's going to be a ton of safety free agents next year. You're probably not even going to come close to cracking the top five there unless you have another, interception leading season. So I
Right.
just don't think it was a very smart move. I think he should have taken what he got, played with a team that has a chance to continue to be dominant in the NFC. So our real RMP checks in. Eagles just signed Justin Evans. Yes, I was just about to break
Yeah.
that. Justin Evans, who was formerly with the Bucks and the Saints. Um, listen, this isn't like a huge move here. He's a decent player.
They
As
could
of
have
right
given an
now,
opportunity, and
yeah, as of right now, him and Reed Blankenship are probably your starters, considering Caval and Wallace is trash. Um,
yeah,
so listen, this isn't going to be the last move the Eagles make at safety, whether it's signing another guy or drafting somebody. I think a lot of people are switching their mock drafts over to getting Brian Branch at 10, which I don't see. It snowballs.
that's a reach. Yeah,
I don't know if it's necessarily a reach. I think he's a great player. It's just, again, I think safety is just, like I said, kind of like running back, where it's not very valued across the league. And I think maybe if they were able to kind of trade back into like the teens, mid teens, all right, yeah, that would be a pretty good value there. But I just don't see him drafting a safety in the first round. We'll see, but I could,
yeah. I don't see, especially not a 10. Like if they're staying at 10, I can't. One, like the two mock drafts I've seen so far, are both just in my mind way off, and that's Bijan Robinson at 10, and now Branch, another one that I saw at 10. No way, just no
yeah,
way.
no, not happening. Either one of them not happening. I think if I had to put all the money in the world that I have and my house and my car and all my
Mhm.
assets, I would say the Eagles are going to trade out of 30, but stay at 10 or move up at 10. I don't see them trading back from 10. It's rare when you get a chance to draft a top 10 guy. So you want to probably stay there and figure that out. So anyway,
Yeah, I would agree with that assessment. I think you just
I,
these
I
players
think
are
if they
10
trade,
play
yeah,
value.
if they
Yeah.
trade up, I could see them trading up to like 7 or 8 if,
Mhm.
let's say, somebody like a Jalen Carter falls. Will Anderson, you never know. Tyree Wilson, maybe. I
Terry
could
Wilson,
definitely,
yeah, that's a guy I really like a lot. I know we talked about that at our roundtable.
right.
He's a guy I look at and think if you want to move up to like say a 7 or an 8, not going to be a huge jump. He could be a guy you could go up and try and get.
Yeah, no, for sure. All right. So, yeah, again, Gardner Johnson, it's a strange situation. Not sure the full story, obviously. A lot of reports are coming out. It's hard to kind of figure out what's true, what's not, what was offered, what wasn't. I mean, heck, there was one report saying that they offered him like a 3 year, $36 million deal. I don't know how true that is. So yeah, I think as the more time kind of separates, we'll get more information hopefully, and kind of. But again, it really seems like Gardner Johnson, his team overvalued himself. They thought they were a little disrespect with the Eagles' initial offer. Eagles were like, all right, well, we're gonna transition. Obviously, we want to go to Bradbury. We re-signed Bradbury, which was a shock. I think we all saw
And I
that
think
one.
that's why when Chauncey Gardner Johnson's people went back to the Eagles with the $8 million offer, That's probably why the Eagles didn't match it, is because they had already signed Bradbury. That was money they had allotted for Gardner Johnson.
But yeah, perhaps. I mean, it seems like how he just pulls money out of everywhere. So I'm not really. I feel like the this offseason, I feel like the cap is just a magical number, and how he's just doing whatever he wants because it
Seriously,
really
I was
like
I was like that guy who goes into your house and like you just look around and he just pulls all this money out of your couch cushions. And like he walks out with like 400 or 500 bucks, like that was just sitting there, like, wait, that was in my couch cushion? Dude, I gotta get the proceeds of that.
right. That's Howie for you.
And by the time
Uh,
you go to shake him down, he's already out the door.
yeah, I know, right? Yeah, so that's kind of the update on the offense or the defensive side. Oh, I did forget to mention we did sign Greedy Williams, corner formerly of the Browns, so that's adding another cornerback depth piece.
Yeah.
Slay with Bradbury, Williams, and Avante Maddox. Man, that's a nice set of four corners right there. We'll see if again, there's a lot of speculation about Maddox, whether or not maybe they bump him back over to safety. He had success there. Who knows? I don't
Say
necessarily.
though is the Eagles are content with saying we'll go with some lesser, like maybe some, what other people would see as lesser quality safeties, and we'll just come at you in waves with the cover corners, and we can just leave them out on an island and trust those guys one on one.
Yeah, I mean it's very likely. So yeah, moving over to the offensive side. Andre Dillard signed with the Titans. Looks like he'll be able to get a chance to fight for a starting spot
Good for
for
him. I hope he
well,
gets it.
for him. I hope he gets it. Yeah. Isaac Seumalo just signed with the Steelers on a 3-year deal. I think he's getting about 8 per, up from 5 from this past season. And Zach Pascal just signed with the Arizona Cardinals, reuniting with Gannon, I guess, even though he
Yeah.
runs offense, whatever. Still, so he's going to Arizona. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now overall, as far as who we lost in the offense. We did sign Rashad Penny to a very, very cheap deal. We re-signed Boston Scott. So it looks like our whole offensive side of the ball is making about $5 million, and our
Yeah.
former running back Miles
Yeah.
Sanders just signed with the Carolina Panthers for over 6. So just goes to show you again the value that people put on the running back position around the NFL. People just aren't paying them that much, and how we decided to kind of go by committee. And maybe they draft somebody, maybe they don't. Maybe they say, hey, we'll figure this out this year. We have the best offensive line in football. Why not just see what we can squeeze out of our running
Right.
backs and go from there. So
I think
uh,
that's the plan at the running back is to just
yeah.
is to just have better offensive line play or have what we've had in offensive line play, and we'll survive at whatever running back. You know,
Yeah.
Kenny Gainwell, Penny, and
Listen, when Penny's healthy, and again, that's always
yeah,
going to be the knock on him. When he's healthy, he's a great, great, great running back. I really do like him, and he's great after first contact.
hmm
And it's funny, yeah. Somebody brought up a stat. It was probably Shane from the Chalk Talk, who said Sanders had probably one of the highest yards before contact, and Penny has one of the highest yards after contact. So one would be the result of the offensive line, one would be result
yeah,
of the player itself. So you combine that, it could do some damage. Real RMP, appreciate the comments, buddy. Keep them coming.
yeah,
Draft Witherspoon moved Maddox to safety. That's what he would do. Listen, I love Witherspoon.
sure,
I like
sure.
Gonzalez. I like Porter Jr. I would love either one of them. I just think now with the Williams signing and retaining Slay, retaining Bradbury, I just don't see it in the cards. Who knows? Maybe they will move Maddox to safety, and maybe I still don't see them drafting with the 10th pick, but maybe down the line,
Yeah, I could see like a Ringo at 30 or something. Yeah,
yeah, maybe. if somebody like Emmanuel Forbes falls into the second, again, if they're trading back from 30, maybe they pick up some extra picks and yada 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 yada. But believe me, I like Witherspoon. I just don't think it's high on the needs. I would be shocked if they did anything other than the trenches at that first pick.
Yeah, I think I would be too. Including maybe a tackle that you could kick into guard. Like, I mean, if Skoranek is there at 10, like,
Kronsky.
or yeah. Well, the
Yeah,
Northwestern.
yeah, Kronsky.
Yeah, Skronsky. Yeah, I butchered his name. Don't worry,
Yeah,
down before you.
yeah. I mean, I've certainly seen mock drafts with like Paris Johnson or him. A couple other guys. I've seen them at 30. There's kind of a cluster there that seems to be falling to the end of the first round. Dawan Jones from Ohio State, Taylor from Tennessee. There's kid from Georgia. There's a couple there, and I think it's something that Howie's definitely going to look in there. He's always going to look at the trenches, and he's always going to think a couple year or two ahead. And you got to think Lane Johnson's probably playing his last few years in the Eagles uniform, so got to plan ahead for sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that's kind of where we are as far as an update with the Birds. Yeah, like you said, we literally just signed Justin Evans from safety from New Orleans to kind of add to the safety room again. Not really sure how it's all going to play out, but again, as of right now, seems like him and Blankenship are our starting safeties.
That's okay because we don't have a game this week.
Yeah, listen, there's a couple of great guys in the second and third round, safety wise, that I would absolutely love. In fact, if you have not checked out on our YouTube or the Edge of Philly Sports YouTube, check out all of the mock draft videos that me and Dives have done. You'll see plenty of those safeties kind of in the second and third round as we've targeted them over the last couple of mock drafts. In fact, the last one we did a 3-round mock draft where I was the Eagles and the Commanders, he was the Cowboys and the Giants, and we drafted, unfortunately, for those other teams, we drafted really good teams for everybody. we were very conflicted. We were like, man, I would hate this draft for them.
Yeah, but love it for us, but hate it for them, right?
So check that out on the Philly Sports Alliance and Edge of Philly Sports YouTube page, also on our Facebook page. So speaking of Edge of Philly Sports, I want to welcome everybody in from the YouTube channel. Edge of Philly Sports and the Painted Lines kind of merged a bit under one powerful one brand with Dibes and Big Al and Joey over there. It's fun news, great news. I'm certainly excited to kind of see how the future unfolds there, and certainly anything that I can do to help, I will. So it's basically the same thing. They are posting all videos on our Facebook, and we are posting videos on their YouTube. We're obviously doing some crossover shows here and there. So it's a fun time right now. So if you have not followed Edge of Philly Sports on YouTube or Facebook, please do so right after you do that for us, for sure. All right, so moving forward now that we are a week in since the legal tampering period has started, obviously needs are kind of becoming more clear.
Yeah.
Big need, obviously, as we've said, safety. Just kind of need to figure out what's going on there. Is Justin Evans and Reed Blankenship enough? Will they continue to address it? Another big need on the defensive front is linebacker. They did lose Edwards and White. They really have Dean as the main player there, and let's be honest, he didn't really see that much time when he was. when he was in towards the end of the season, he really seemed to shine there when White was injured there. But again, that's not a lot going on, and hopefully a full off season with a year under the belt will help. But you're going to need to bring in somebody to be that other starter. Right now, uh, is that Sean Bradley? Is
Well,
it?
I think the answer to that question is to be determined. Like,
Yeah, I'm just saying as of right now, who do
yeah,
you think it is? You know, it's a little scary. So
yeah.
uh,
Thankfully, I'll get to say this again. We don't have a game this week, so it's okay. They can figure this out as we go.
that is true. They do have some time to figure that out, Eric. And believe me, I would love you know me, I would love a linebacker. Unfortunately, there's no linebackers at 10. I would take.
No,
Uh,
not even you could make a case for a linebacker at 10.
no, I really can't. But there are a couple of guys in the 20s that may fall to 30 that I would love. Trent Simpson is certainly one of them.
Hmm.
Uh, I really do like him. There's Deion Henley, maybe in the second. Again, there's definitely some people that the Eagles could target, but it has to be up there. You just you're going to need bodies. So unless they sign some vets here or people that can play,
Right.
it's going to look pretty ugly after the draft if we haven't addressed it. So. Next, again, more depth on the defensive line. Yes, we signed Brandon Graham and Cox, but we're losing. Hargrave. I assume Linval, Joseph, and Sue are not coming back. So you're going to need to rely upon a lot of young people. Milton Williams, Jordan Davis. You do get a Derek Barnett back for whatever that's worth to you. But again, he's a good rotational. So him, Sweat, Brandon Graham, and who knows, maybe one of those sexy edge players will fall to them at 10. You never know. Uh, LOL. Facts. It's only March. You're right. They aren't playing right now. So thankfully,
I mean, I wish we were, but
I wish they were too. But I'm also kind of glad with the way that the team is right now. We need more time to figure it out. But yeah, so more depth on the D line. I am fine with somebody like I keep seeing obviously a guy from Pitt, Cansey,
Mhm.
fall into the birds at 30. I would love that. I think he's a really good player.
Like being
Say
up for it,
say if
yeah.
they were to trade up and get somebody like a Wilson or some reason Will Anderson. Um, that would be a great, nice 1-2 punch. Adding those two, an edge and an interior defensive line. We're definitely going to need more bodies and definitely some talent. Moving over to the offensive side, we do need to figure out guard. It looks like Jurgens is probably just going to move over, but again, that's not always just an easy. Oh, just move him over to
Yeah, we're
guard.
not
You
playing Madden here. They got to
know?
like,
Right. I mean, it does take a certain player to be able to learn a whole new position. So not sure, how much experience he's had playing guard, but we'll see if that's the route they go, or they address it in the draft, or maybe they already have that guy that's gonna move over. So they certainly still have some good depth pieces on the offensive line. So that's one thing that needs to get figured out. And I also think two other positions that are not really being talked about is wide receivers and tight ends. You need to figure out who's your third wide receiver because Watkins certainly wasn't it. You
yeah,
need to
he
find
get
out your tight
dropped.
end too because Stoll or Calcaterra weren't it. There's a lot of growing.
I will die on that hill with Stoll, but
Wow,
it
think
seems
of
like
it
a
as
weird hill to
think of it
die.
as Gettysburg, buddy. You ain't making it out.
But
Awful. Yeah, but it's funny. I'm seeing a few people. Again, our buddy Shane, half and half on Twitter, who is proposing the Eagles maybe trade back a little bit and maybe go after one of those wide receivers. Jigba from Ohio State, Johnston from TCU. There's a couple of guys there that could intrigue the Eagles. And could we go yet another wide receiver in the first round? It's not like we haven't done it before. Hey, what's going on, David? What's up, buddy? Kansas in the house.
All right.
Yeah,
Sorry for
so
the Jayhawks.
yeah, yeah, sad. But yeah, that is definitely a need. We need to figure out what's behind Smith and Brown. We need to figure out what's behind Goddard. Again, it seems like running backs figured out. Just only for the fact of the matter is you can't really fit any more people in that running back room. You're not going to obviously sign Penny not to use them or Scott not to use them. So, yeah, it's.
Let's be honest. Boston Scott has been brought back for 2 games, and they're against the New York Giants.
You need him. Who knows? Has he played against the Jets? Maybe it's just a New York thing.
I mean, he did play against the Jets. I don't think he did anything.
Well, somebody should look into that just to see what he did against the Jets. Regular season.
Right. Nobody cares about the preseason.
Nobody cares. Because if he balled out then that's an extra game this year.
New York,
yeah. David says CJ is a chump. He couldn't hang with the Philly crowd. Yeah, I mean, listen, I
don't really think that was
that perchance. I just think, again, he overvalued himself. Maybe he got bad advice from his agent. Who knows? But it didn't work out. He lost his hand, and he's going to have to prove it. And honestly, he's really going to have to prove it because the safety market next year is going to be filled with a lot of players. And again, it's probably still not going to make the money that you think you're going to make because it's devalued. So
after this year, we got to sign him for even less money next year. Yeah, he's a free agent again. We went out and signed him and get him to a much better deal than we even would have gotten.
3-year, $16 million deal.
Yeah,
that'd be funny. But yeah, so we obviously have some major holes. We lost a good amount of people.
Mm-hmm.
And, at least on offense, it's clear cut. I think the Eagles probably have their plan at guard. Probably Juergens is their plan, or
probably
Conklin. Perhaps fight it out, see what happens. And I wouldn't doubt that they, draft some depth there, guard wise to kind of throw in there. But again, I would not be surprised
if devaluing. I feel like guards are another one of those positions that are kind of devalued. That maybe you could get a decent guy like in rookie free agency. You don't even think.
Yeah, listen, Sam Allo signed for only 8, and he was, a starter for years. He was the kind of an quiet, unsung hero of that line. David, he thought he was WWE, and he is barely AEW. Well, Eric would get that reference.
I do. More than I do. Good point.
I get the reference. I just maybe don't understand the full impact of the reference. Spoiler alert, Eagles will trade the 10th overall pick to Carolina.
So we're moving up to 1?
Yeah, I was going to say, what are we getting out of that? If not 1, how would we get? Do they...
They don't have any, they already dealt their first rounder for next year. They,
and their second round this year, I think. Didn't they? I'm not sure what
they dealt their first and second next year.
Listen.
It's just their first next year and the second.
Apparently, David is Nostradamus and knows what's going to happen. If that's the case, can you please give me the winning lottery numbers for the next Powerball? We could really just,
And look, I'll take the next one. I don't need like a $200 million. I'll settle for just a $40 million one. Just give me the following one after Ryan wins.
Oh, well, that's so nice of you.
Right?
Listen, we could just split it, combine and split.
With that too.
We'll buy a luxury suite. We'll pay for it for like the next.
We'll have the luxury suite for Lincoln Financial Field, so all their events we can go to.
Right? Yeah. We'll pay for that. Yeah. That'll be we'll pay 20 years in advance, so we're good. And then we'll obviously have to go on Philly sports trips
Oh,
every away
every away trip, yeah.
every away trip. Uh, Definitely every Eagles away trip.
Oh, well,
Uh,
obviously, yeah.
but yeah, we
And as long as the Eagles aren't playing that week, whatever game in Germany we're going, like,
oh, yeah, we shouldn't do that. There you go. And we would basically just throw all of our money at Eagle stuff.
oh, absolutely. Does that
we,
surprise anybody?
yeah, fanatics would they'd have to give everybody overtime for all the crap we're about to
it's
buy.
like it's like that post when they were giving out all those what you call it, the money the government was giving us during
Oh,
COVID, and the guy's just like, "Oh, I got $1,400," and really it's like a guy with Amazon. No, I get $1,400.
come to Kansas next year. I'll be at the game. I'll buy a Super Bowl ring and give the Eagles some money for their cap room. Yeah, actually, like if that was
Honestly,
allowed,
we could do that.
I'd probably do the same. Yeah, the Kansas City is definitely a game that we're thinking about
Yeah,
going to. Tampa, I think, is the other one. But yeah, if anybody is looking to go anywhere, phillysportstrips.com is
absolutely.
the
Yeah,
absolute spot to go. Even if, again, somebody like David who lives out in Kansas going to the game, just by the tailgate.
yeah, and come out and tailgate with us.
Dude, the tailgate is legendary. I mean, it's all you can eat, all you can drink, DJ, music, the, the ladies are out. There's plenty of games. Like, there's so much going on. It's such a great time. So, yeah, well, once the schedule comes out, I think it's going to be between Kansas City and Tampa. It really does depend on when those games are.
Yeah, when and honestly, where? Like, I mean, like I don't think they're gonna put the Chiefs and Eagles in.
Oh yeah, no, I think it's a very low chance of whether or not
Yeah,
they go to Germany. Um, then it would definitely be Tampa.
yeah.
So
And again, I'll cast a vote for possibly, depending on when, a New England game. We could
that's
go to New England. I think that would be a fun one.
legit. But I'll buy the first beer. There you go. I love it.
Sounds
Either way,
good.
we'll definitely if we're there, we're definitely doing that. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So listen, hold on to your butts, as they say. Still a lot of free agency to happen. Don't jump off the bridge just yet. We all knew that this offseason was going to be rough. It was going to be we're going to lose some guys we love. Gardner Johnson certainly is fresh in the minds, but I think more and more come out. It feels like it's one of those where like, hey, listen, we tried to bring you back. You
Right.
just didn't come back. So there's nothing you could do about that, sadly. Um, so it just sucks. I just think that would have been. I think if we would have re-signed Gardner Johnson again to let's just say a $324 million deal, I think I would have been like, this is an A plus considering everything. And going
Oh,
into the draft,
absolutely. And look, I think I said at the beginning is I know me and Mike, who he has my other season ticket. We were talking some, and I said, there was going to be one guy. Like we kind of counted on in our head, saying, okay, Hargrave, just because of the money, he was probably going to be gone because of
yeah,
what he was going to get. And I said, and there was going to be one other name that I predicted that would kind of surprise you and would kind of sting, and that's Gardner Johnson. That
yeah.
one
Yeah.
stings.
I think if people
Everybody
put
else
money,
makes sense.
yeah, I think if people put money on whether or not we were going to lose Bradbury and sign Gardner Johnson, I think people would have put the house on that.
Yeah.
The fact that it flipped, I think was a little crazy. So,
hmm
um,
Especially when we signed Greedy Williams, I really thought that was like a sure indicator that okay, we're bringing back Gardner Johnson, and it's going to be like. Although was Bradbury first, and then we signed Greedy.
yeah,
I think yeah, okay, because that did kind of confuse me. I thought I'm like, man, like you're signing a bunch of corners. It's like
right.
we need safety.
Yeah, right. Yeah, David, Justin Evans, we mentioned
Yeah.
earlier, former Tampa Bay Buck and Saint
Yeah,
signing
he
with
was
the
a second round
Eagles.
pick by the Bucks. So like, I mean, he clearly has
That's
talent.
out. Right, and that's what I said. He'll definitely, again, he's definitely slotted in as a starter as of right now. Obviously, it's still
And he's somebody who is kind of on a prove it deal now.
yeah. I mean, you're kind of right. So we'll see. We'll see kind of what happens with him. I think a lot of people probably aren't very familiar with Justin Evans. So I think there's probably a lot of people that are Googling and YouTubing Justin Evans highlights to kind of take a look at him. So, but yeah, we'll continue to monitor free agency as it happens. Um, Obviously, the draft coming up next month, the end of next month.
I
Uh,
imagine we'll talk about that some.
we will. In fact, for those, thank you again to the Italian American Club for the week before for allowing us to do our roundtable, off-season roundtable number one, the free agency preview. If you didn't check that out, please make sure you do. It is on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere. But yeah, we're going to be doing that again right before the draft. In fact, that Saturday or Sunday, right before the draft, we will be doing the same thing, talking about the draft, talking about needs, talking about what we think is going to happen at 10, 30, yada yada yada, and just kind of breaking it all down. So once we have secured that information, we will pump that out to you guys. I hope many of you can come out. Like I said, it'll be that weekend right before the draft starts. Where we can give you the latest and greatest leading right up to the draft. So yeah, we'll give you that information. So that'll probably be about a month away too. So
Yeah.
looking forward to that. Yeah, outside of that, the Philly broadcast will be tomorrow. We got the TLC podcast on Wednesday with Eric and Mike. I believe there's going to be a Tendies episode this week. Tendies on Pattison, the All Flyers show. And yeah, more to come. Obviously, the best way to get to us is Facebook or YouTube. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. All the help there is much appreciated. But yeah, if you're on Facebook, just throw on those automatic notifications. That way, when we go live, whether it's a Philly Sports Alliance show, whether it's a Philly Sports show, you're right there. The second we go live, you can jump right on in, start commenting, being part of the show. And that's honestly what we all as hosts love, just commenting and talking with you guys. So we do appreciate that. Also, before I go, I want to mention, of course, La Terrain watches. Visit la-terrain.com. Use code PSA for site-wide discounts. Awesome luxury watches at a fraction of the cost. They also got sunglasses, wristbands, stuff for the ladies. So check it out. It's really cool. PSA, use that code, and you will get, I believe it's 10% off your order there. So check that out. And then last but not least, I want to mention sixpackcoverage.com. We've joined up with Six Pack Coverage based out in Tennessee. They are just a nationwide media company. They do sports, obviously. In fact, their flagship show is their leader over there, Andrew and Albert Hainsworth, do a Tennessee Volunteers football podcast. And Hainsworth went to Tennessee, obviously played for the Titans. So he's rooted there in Tennessee. So the two of them have a great show. But they do other things besides sports, lifestyle, fitness, food, travel, you name it. There's something there for everybody. So check it out, sixpackcoverage.com. You can check out all of our shows there as well. And then, yeah, of course, I mentioned Philly Sports Trips. So, yeah, I think I mentioned everything I need to mention. Hey!
All right.
But we will be back next week to give you any updates the Eagles do and Howie over the next week or so. We'll talk a little draft, obviously, as each week passes by. The kind of the mindset of the draft starts becoming a little clearer. We understand what they may be looking for. And, again, the value of certain players kind of moving up and down. So you never know, what player might be there and what might not be there. So we'll talk about all that next week as well. But yeah, just really want to thank everybody for tuning in, commenting. David, appreciate it, buddy. As always, you've been a fan of the show for a while, and in fact, we got to talk about your thing. Also, the real RMP, appreciate it coming in from YouTube. Love that. So thank you very much. But yeah, thank you to everybody for tuning in on Facebook, whether you're coming from a group or a page, or you're coming from YouTube, whether it's our YouTube, whether it's your Philly Sports Six Pack coverage. We do appreciate that. Thank you very much. Be sure you subscribe if you're watching on YouTube as well. So, Eric, you got anything to add before we pop on out of here?
Nah.
Okay. Jonathan Harvey says it's a collaboration with the Eagles, right? What are we talking about here? Sorry, the commenter, Witherspoon move Maddox. I don't know. I kind of don't know where he's commenting off of because I can't see the connection.
I can't see those either.
That's the one bad thing. I can't see what he's actually commenting to that about. But Jonathan, appreciate
yeah, thanks.
And maybe I'll read it afterwards and then be like, but yeah, we'll be back next week around 6 o'clock usually, if I get out on work on time. But yeah, so appreciate the love, the support. Please make sure you go and like, follow, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Rate us, whether you find us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. You can always search Philly Sports Alliance or Football Smack Talk Show, and you'll find us all over social media, Twitch, Twitter. We are at Philly Sports PSA. A guy said how he's signing old players. It's a collaboration with the Eagles. Yeah, well, they did sign old players. What do you got to know, right? Anyway, that's it for us. Thank you very much for popping in. We will see you guys next week. We'll see you tomorrow for the Philly broadcast and the Birds of the Round Table. We got something going for the Birds of the Round Table tomorrow as well. So check that out. And yeah, all the other shows throughout the week. So we'll see you guys next week. And yeah, I think that's it. So for the Football Smack Talk Show, I am your host, Ryan.
I'm Eric. Happy football, everybody. Only 171 days to go.
Cool, that just seems like so much.
It really is.
It really is. All good, Jonathan. Appreciate it, pal. Yeah, well, listen, we'll get there. But all right, everybody, have a good night. See you next. See you tomorrow. A couple times. See you next week on the Football Smack Talk Show. Later.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.